Hello, horror fans. It's me, Cass,
Kylee.
and you are listening currently to the Horrorcraft podcast. And today we have on a very special guest to continue our Hell House month. We have on Vas Eli. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're great. We're even better that you're on. So if you do not
Yes.
recognize Vass's face or his voice, Um, he is Mitchell Cavanaugh from Hell House 2. We are specifically kind of focusing on Hell House 2, but like a lot of these interviews for Hell House Month, we're kind of covering more even broadly all of the Hell House movies and just highlighting everyone in here. And Vass himself, I mean, has a incredible career. Like I was going through
You
IMDb
do.
last night and you just like some of my favorite shows. Like I saw you were recently on FBI's Most Wanted, and I was like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I did the very last episode. It was a bit part, but it was the very last episode, and that was really cool because it's kind of like a rite of passage for New York actors to be on that show. So,
oh, I love that.
Okay. That's
yeah,
awesome. I love that.
yeah.
So, but we are going to get into talking about Hell House. We are not going to be spoiling any parts of Hell House 2, or we will talk about some things. And when we get into those parts that we may be talking about, we will definitely put a spoiler alert in effect. But if you have not seen any of the Hell House movies or 825 Forest Road that Steve Cognetti did, we would highly recommend you to go watch them. They are currently streaming on AMC Plus. And don't be like me and wait till the very last minute to watch 825 Forest Road, because I will tell you that's probably that's a movie that's terrified me recently that I did not expect. Kind of came out of nowhere.
Dakota got so mad at me last night because I put it on. He watched it for the first time, and he's like, "Why are you watching this? It's 11 o'clock at night. This is terrifying." There's not a lot that really scares my husband, but yeah, he was not. I was not his biggest fan, but I just was like laughing, snickering quietly while the baby slept.
Yeah, I think it's just certain unsettling parts, but I definitely had to grab my cat and watch a rom-com or something. I think I watched Law and Order, to be honest, after that, just to like cleanse the
Jason
palate. But
Bourne,
yeah, but yeah, there, and it wasn't even like, obviously I watched scary things, but there are some just unexpected things in that movie, which I think is something that Stephen Cognetti himself does really well.
he's really good about like subtle scares.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
Yes.
really good about building tension up to a certain point, and then you just have a, a figure passing by in
Uh huh.
very smooth motion, and it's the creepiest, most hair-raising thing ever. That's what he does really, really well. I think he's very masterful at the subtle scare. He has
He
some booze, like, but I think his forte is the the good, like the kid glove scare. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the subtle, like, because we were talking about it, because obviously Elizabeth, it came on this month as well, and her scene in particular terrified the crap out of me. So there is a very particular scene where it's just like the subtlety, and it's like in the corner, and at first, and I should know this by now because I've watched all the Hell House movies to like watch out for everything. I wasn't even noticing it, but then I like noticed out of the side, and for a minute I thought I was crazy because it was at night. And I was like, okay, well, I might be just like hallucinating things. But it was no, it was the movie, and it was Steve Cognetti. And once again, I was just like, after that, I think I just need to hold my cat for a minute. So I'm like, I just need some reassurance for a second. I know that this isn't real, but at the same time, like I think I'm gonna start double checking things when I'm around like mannequins and stuff anymore. And I have you, Steve Cognetti, to thank for that. So um yeah, I was just not prepared. So I even texted Kylie after, and I was like, what did I just watch? And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. But I was like, what did I watch? I think I need to go back and watch it again. And I did. So I could like definitely pick up on more. But yeah, he is definitely the art of subtle. And I think that's why we all love him. So
Yes.
we are going to go ahead and get into our intro. So let's go ahead and cue the music.
Welcome to the Horrorcraft podcast.
And we are
That's so
back.
cool. I love that.
Thank you. So
Thank
that
you.
was our wonderful intro done by our friend Tiki. And we thank him so much for it. So definitely go check out all of his info in the description down below. But we are back with Vas Eli. And you know, it wouldn't be Horrorcraft without having a little bit of fun. We're fun and unfiltered here. So we're going to get into some icebreakers. So the first question is, if you had to spend one night in the Abaddon Hotel, what 3 things would you bring with you?
Holy ghosts. Hold on. Okay. 3 things in the hotel. Oh my god. Crowbar. Can I get a crowbar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's practical.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like those doors have to be able to, right? Right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
crowbar to get out. And if the crowbar doesn't work, let me see. Maybe sure. I'm trying to. I can't do sci-fi stuff. I'm realizing. Okay, I can't do sci-fi stuff probably.
I
So
mean,
like a force field of.
it's whatever
Yeah.
you want to bring.
It's whatever you want to bring if you can bring it.
Okay. No, I feel like that'd be cheating if I said like a force field because I definitely would bring some sort of poison or some sort of tool of self-suicide. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
push comes to shove, I'll just off myself.
Yeah.
I know that's very dark. I don't know why I went there.
No, but I mean that's practical though.
I get-
Like the easier
Yeah.
excuse, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And the third one would be a shovel. If all else fails, I'll just dig myself through the basement even deeper.
That's
You
a good
know,
one.
That's yeah. You could even use it as a weapon.
That's what I got. That's what I got. I got mandrake, a crowbar, and a spade.
Yep.
That works most definitely.
That's great. What is scarier to you, the clowns in Hell House or AI?
What a great question. AI. I mean, yeah, clowns don't really scare me all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, AI, as much as it can be used as a tool, and I personally am, because I'm also a visual artist and I'm interested in what it can create. And actually, I'm gonna plug someone who doesn't know me at all. He doesn't even know of my existence. An artist named Doopy Doo, who uses AI in one of the most. He's also like a graphic designer himself, and he uses AI in the scariest ways I have ever seen, as far as creating horror and just unsettling, unnerving material. So even though I am very afraid of how out of control it can get. I am very afraid of how many jobs it will steal, even from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that it can be a tool, but definitely scarier than clowns for me. Yeah.
No, I think that's a very valid answer because I feel the same way. I
Yeah.
feel like there are great uses for it, but I feel like there's a difference between like ethical AI and
Yeah.
non-ethical AI, and
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely. Yeah.
just some of the things that can come out of it and some of the things that we've seen happen with AI, where it's like data breaches and different things like that, and the way people have been able to use it. I think that's kind of the more terrifying side. So I don't like clowns. I'm okay with clowns. I shouldn't say I don't like clowns because I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's one of my favorite movies. But the clown in Hell House, as you could see in Kylie's background, not exactly my vibe, but he's supposed to be terrifying. It's fine. But AI
Yeah.
scares me more, especially because I grew up in the 90s. So I remember watching
Yeah.
Smart on Disney Channel. I remember thinking, oh, that house is so cool. And then after that movie being like, smart houses are the devil. Like, it just be like, no. And now me having an Alexa and everything, that's kind of like the same thing as like smart house. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah, I
So-
think like AI, it can be a great thing. Like one thing like I've used it for, because my son has severe autism and is nonverbal. I've used Chat GPT to make like social books for him to be able to explain things to him that really kind of helps him. I made one for him when summer school was ending, and I'm like, this is what can be great about this thing. But I feel like there's so many people right now just like having conversations with Chat GPT like it's a friend, and I just feel like that is just so dangerous.
Yeah. It's also like on the larger scale, it's actually really bad for the environment because it uses a significant amount of energy. I forget if it's like 8 or 12 times more than any Google search.
yeah.
And people use it now almost like Google. Like, when we stop thinking for ourselves and we don't rely on deductive reasoning, and we just plug everything into a question to this machine. So that's pretty bad. And I think it's only going to get, like, it's not going to get less. And I feel like
Yeah.
the environment will feel the burden of that. But how about an AI clown as the ultimate supreme evil entity?
Oh, that it's over. Like, we're just gonna have
Gosh,
to burn the whole thing.
that is utterly terrifying.
Yeah.
That is utterly
Yeah,
terrifying.
it is. Well, and I think it's just the social ramifications of it too, because we're seeing it more and more as people are using it in a way to find connection, and it's not connecting them. Like we do Reddit stories, and I know I consume a lot of like media from other podcasters about Reddit stories, and there have been a lot of Reddit stories where people have like caught their significant other having really inappropriate conversations with AI, and like, almost substituting like having a boyfriend or girlfriend for AI, and there are whole sites on it now, and like a whole like different way to go down it. So I can just see, like, with the way that things are now, how that could just go even darker and darker and darker.
Wow.
So yeah.
I mean, if you could get it to do laundry, though, I'd go for that.
Yeah. Listen, laundry.
Well,
Dishes.
I don't know. Like, I watched Subservience with Megan Fox, and
Oh yeah,
I'm just I'm not so sure about that. Not so sure about that.
Not even that. God damn it.
Yeah. You know, if it starts out with laundry, and then she's trying to run you over with the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Amongst other things.
amongst other
Fair.
things, that's a really dark movie. So
It's a good one.
it's great, but definitely dark. So if you could haunt any location in real life, where would it be and why?
If I could haunt any location in real life, these are great
Mhm.
questions. Um, I don't know why the first thing that came to my mind is my childhood apartment. I don't know why.
Oh, I love that.
That just
Yeah.
came to my mind. I don't know why though, because my sister now lives in that apartment with her fiance. I don't. Why would
Oops.
I do that? Why would I do? No, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm
Uh,
still here. That's where
I'm
you-
still here.
oh. How about? I know. I have a better one. I have the best one. The White House. Boom.
There you go.
Done.
You
There you
know,
go.
that would be yeah.
Done. That's it. No further comment. That's it.
That's
where-
yeah. You know what? That's where I'm going. That's when I pass one day, that's where I'm going. I'm not gonna haunt my kids. I'm gonna go just haunt the people in the White House. Even if it's
Yep.
still even there by that point, because who knows?
That could use some ghostly love. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Dracula's Castle, but I'm basic, so and that's just leave me there. That's where I want to be. It's fine.
You
So
had to go to my home country, didn't you?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I
Mine.
do.
People who don't know, I'm from Romania, so
Yes.
where Dracula's castle actually is. So.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize too that like what they think is Dracula's castle isn't actually Dracula's castle. Like people
Yeah,
think
it's
it's there. People don't understand like the history behind it. The way that Kylie is with Hell House is the way I've been with
Yeah.
vampires my whole life. I carried around a vampire encyclopedia growing up, and like
wow.
did not have a social life, and just was like entranced by like gothic literature. So I was just like deeply, so I've lived that life for a long time. So like Kylie will say I'm an encyclopedia of information, and I know all these random facts, but common sense may not be my best friend.
Fun fact, because you were talking about vampires, I also record audiobooks, and I just recorded this title called "I Was Feeling Epic," that is about the kind of like a behind the scenes interviews about from the cast and creative team and execs of the Vampire Diaries. And I
That's
got
super cool.
to voice, yes, very interesting book. And I got to voice Ian Somerhalder.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so that was pretty neat. It was pretty neat.
That is
Yeah.
super neat.
That is
Yeah.
very cool. I don't know. Vampires for the rest of my life. It'll be
I
fine.
have a little jar of dirt from Dracula's Castle. My brother, he's a pilot for JetBlue, and he does war reenactments. So he's all over like the world all the time. Well, he had a friend that was going there, and they like traded some things or whatever. But he's like, "Can you get me a little jar of dirt from Dracula's Castle for my little sister?"
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good brother. That's a good brother
Yeah.
right there. That's a
He
very
is. He's the best brother.
thoughtful-
Yeah, he had been telling me for months, like, I had something for you, and I'm like, okay. I already knew it was going to be something that was going to kind of make me cry, but when I finally got to see him this past December, he's like, here, it's dirt from Dracula's castle. And I was just like, and I was pregnant, so I'm already like extra emotional. I'm just like, thank you so much, Richie. I love you.
It's stained with the blood of impaled people. I love it.
Yes,
It's incredible. It's
so
great.
Yeah.
Well, and I always reference like Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow. I got a jar of dirt, so it's like a 2-in-1 thing for me. I got a jar of dirt, so
Awesome.
yeah.
You still have it?
Yes, I do.
Great.
Yeah, I got it put up on my shelf in my room,
Nice.
high up, so no kids can see it or get it, because I can see someone taking the top off and pouring it out, and then I will really cry.
Yeah.
When you first read the script for the Abaddon Hotel, what scene made you go, "Oh, this is going to be fun"?
I mean, the whole thing caught me right off the bat, but what was probably coolest was, well, it was actually my first horror film that I shot. And I think the scenes where we realize hold on, how do I put this without spoiling? I guess when the crew realizes that there is something awfully awry, and you go into that kind of hyperventilating, crazy, on the run thing, like that kind of acting I'd never had to do before. I've done a lot of action stuff that's like very staged and very, you know what I mean, like fights and all that stuff, but almost always I get my ass kicked or I kicked someone's ass. But I was never opposing such a strong, impalpable entity. And that was very exciting to me. Like to basically face the supernatural in the conflict, and to have to escape a force that I couldn't wrestle with my own body, and to put myself in those imagined circumstances. Like that was really exciting, and I couldn't wait to experience in kind of a masochistic kind of way, you know?
Yeah, I definitely understand like how you're describing that. Like, I do think that would be a very interesting like space to explore. In the vein of that question, because we are going to jump a little bit ahead, what is your favorite acting project that you've done? Because you have done a lot.
I'm gonna quote a director that I worked with in the past, who probably quoted someone else, and then so on and so forth. But it's the project that I am currently working on, always, and that's a play written by my lovely, talented wife, about our struggle with the whole immigration process and the whole hopping from one legal status to the other, and how long it took me as an immigrant coming here to get my citizenship, and how that affected our relationship. And the play, that's one track in the play, but the play literally addresses or dissects multiple instances of what it means to be an immigrant in this country. And that's it's a play that's going to go up. We're doing a workshop now in November, so we're gearing up for that, and then there's a run in March next year. And I am in it, and I'm also directing it, so it's a different a challenge on a whole nother level. So that's my favorite piece right now.
I
That
absolutely
was
love
very
that.
roundabout. Yeah, sorry, that was. I should keep my answers shorter and
No,
more
no, no,
concise.
you're fine.
No, you're fine.
We gab. We gab.
Yeah,
In the right
you're
place.
good. Yeah.
But no, I love that just because like a lot of people who've listened, maybe they picked up on this before, but you know, my great grandparents are the ones that immigrated here from Germany over to Middle Bass, and then we settled in the area that we are. But like that was a big part of my grandfather growing up, and a big part of like me relating to that is, you know, because we, you know, everything that they did to here, and they did it all for us. And you know, I look at the pictures and everything, and like we still have family over in Germany that we've never met, but that I would love to meet. But it is just one of those things, because also being Hispanic and not really having a cultural tie to my Mexican heritage, I totally understand that. Well, I don't obviously understand the immigration process, but like I just think that a lot of people don't realize the internalized struggles that really go through that. People have a vision of one thing when really it's so much broader and so much wider in the choices that we make. So I know if my grandparents had to come over here, I wouldn't be over here right now. So I think that's beautiful. So I will definitely be looking out for that.
Same here. Same here. I'm excited for that.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Cool. Awesome.
What is your favorite horror movie?
Wow, I cannot pass. I cannot answer that. I'm horrible with favorites. I
It
don't
could
have
be like right now,
It's a subjective question. It could be now, from the past, things coming
okay.
up.
I don't know. Eraserhead.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's to me. I'm a huge Lynch fan. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
I love. To me, I am most scared and freaked out by dark absurdity.
Yes.
Like when, and I'll give you a perfect example. Like when in Twin Peaks,
Mm-hmm.
the second part,
Yes.
the second one, when he comes, when he's smeared with one of the miners, or what is it? He comes.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Do you have a light? Do you have a light?
Yeah.
Do you have a light? And like he keeps just repeating that, and it's like, to me that freaks me out so much, because it's genuinely making me think that I have, like you said, Cass, that I've lost my mind.
Yeah.
And that to me is a very scary place to be. Like, what the actual fuck am I watching? And that to me, like, is paranoia inducing and like mind bending.
Yeah, no, I understand that 100% where you're coming from, because it's kind of like one of my favorite movies, and one that I don't think gets talked about a lot, but especially for Sam Neill, but In the Mouth of Madness. I mean, because that is just like insane. I mean, it's insane on a whole, but then the layers, and just also Sam Neill, like the deeply like unsettling moments that he has in there. But another one of mine is My Bloody Valentine, and the original. And at the end, when he's losing his mind, and then they're like hearing him, and he is just, I remember the first time I rewatched that when we started doing the podcast, and you just pick up on so much more kind of doing this. I just remember being deeply unsettled for a while after that. Like, it still sticks with me, where I'm just like, I'm almost convinced that guy didn't lose his mind on set.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I did have to research and like check and make sure that guy was okay afterwards. The actor, I was like, because for a minute I was like, You know,
Mhm.
sometimes when you get into a role, you can get sucked into it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but I understand because that is, I think, a genre that a lot of people don't give love to is just deeply unnerving, like psychosis and psychological, just like uh pushing forward. I think sometimes is the most deeply unsettling horror because how can you fight madness?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That to me is scary. I think one of the things that I'm most scared of in life is, losing my health or my sanity, and that's very, very scary. That to me is true horror. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely
Most
agree. So
definitely.
thank you so much for doing our icebreakers. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and roll on into the meats and potatoes, as we like to call it, of this interview. Um, and kind of piggyback off of what we were just talking about, what is your personal relationship with horror films? Are you a fan, a casual viewer, or is it just not your thing?
um well, I I remember, I think one of the first horror films that I saw, uh, coincidentally enough, it's coming out now. I think they're doing the Final Destination. I don't know how many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Final Destination
Yeah.
6 that came out earlier
But
this year. Yep.
I don't have a lot of memories from my childhood, but and I think it's in that movie. I might be wrong. I haven't watched it in like forever, but that shot when there's like a ghost or a lady kissing someone and then pulling away the lip, at like just ripping the lower lip of the person, that slowly ripping the lower lip of the, that stayed with me in such a crystal, like crazy pokey, fundamentally like messed up way. And I'll never forget it. And I've always loved being, I don't know why, but I guess we all do kind of love being unsettled, unnerved, and scared. We love that. So I do have that bug. I I'm not a horror head. Like I'm not a horror head.
Right.
I'm not going to say like, this week, this month, I'm just going to binge horror movies or whatever. Um, Unless I'm actually working. If I'm working on a horror project, I will do research and just watch solely that genre, for example.
Right.
Um, but more recently, it's become almost kind of like a guilty pleasure because my wife cannot watch anything scary. And when I say anything, I mean cannot watch anything at all that's even remotely like, because then she's afraid to walk by herself in the hallway, or she's afraid that to go to the bathroom by herself. She is that easily scared. And we've genuinely had altercations over the fact that I can't watch a horror film when I want to. So now it's kind of become like this guilty pleasure when I'm like, oh, she's away from the house, I'm gonna watch a horror movie by myself. So it's
I
like
love that.
you know what I mean? Like I'm like, like, haha, she's gone for an hour and a half. Boom. Um, but yeah, I love them. I I think they're, I mean, just as much, just as powerful as a well done horror is just as powerful as any other genre, because it can be all encompassing, and it is it permits, it's very generous. It's as generous as sci-fi, as generous as
Yep.
drama, as generous, and very rarely is there a pure horror. So it's like, for example, a movie that I consider to be very frightening is I think it's with Anthony Hopkins. It's called The Father. It came out, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something.
I
And it's
think I
about
know what
it's
you're talking about.
he's getting Alzheimer's, or yeah,
Yes.
and it's exploring that. and just how the mind is playing tricks on him. I think that's like it's a psychological drama, but there is so much.
Yeah.
I consider that to be a horror film, although I don't know if IMDb will qualify it as such. But yeah, I love horror. I'm not all that to say I'm not a horror head, but I love horror.
Yeah, I just feel
love
I know no, I understand exactly what you're saying because I do feel like people don't understand the layers behind horror. I think that's a big part of like what we do is talking about it. Cause like take for instance, we did long legs for Mother's Day. And we
Yep.
we were talking about long legs. We were talking about Kylie's sister came on and we were talking about just generational trauma and how that can trickle down from mother to daughter and how in the moment growing up, you can think that your mother is this horrible person. But then when you get older and you reflect on their decisions and you see actually what happened behind that, it definitely changes your view.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And it is one of those films that's just layered because that's one of many layers that's in it on top of it. But it is one of those things where I feel like we have a different view of horror too, because there's a lot of movies that I consider horror movies that people wouldn't consider horror movies.
Yeah.
I think like 80% of true crime or crime related movies can be horrifying.
Right.
Especially, I have a legal background, and so I understand the schematics of that, and it is horrifying. So I definitely think, but no, I love that. And it's so funny that you talked because Kylie and I were smiling when you said that about your wife because we call it the Elizabeth effect, and that's my mother. But growing up in my home, my mom couldn't even do Kung Fu Panda. Like, like that was too violent for her. That was like, she was just like, you can't do that. That's going to rot your brain. And now the amount of like movies, I think she's realized that I watched at an age I probably shouldn't have. And it was because of her own brother and my father. I think it probably terrifies her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but look how it turned out.
Yeah.
It was for nothing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah. How much of the role of Mitchell Cavanaugh was choreographed versus improvised, especially like in the creepy hallway scenes? Which, by the way, I was watching Hell House Abaddon Hotel last night, and I always catch things I don't see, like even the first time I watched it. But like when they were in the bedroom and they had the dresser up against the door, and it just went completely dark, and they took Molly, and you see like the little girl in white in the doorway. I didn't see that, realize that until last night that there was somebody there, and I wanted to shit my pants.
Yeah, so how much I think that's another merit of Steve's. He wasn't a director to try to place you into a mold, or things were pretty fluid. Things were pretty fluid on not necessarily as far as dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was relatively close to what was on page. But as far as movement and behavior, no, definitely no. That was a lot of that just came from the actors and our own instincts. And I wouldn't go as far as to call it improvisation. Like, okay, so we had in terms of blocking, we knew that by that point we need to go to that room, or we need to, and even the dialogue carries you like, let's go this way, let's go, you know what I'm saying? But we had landmarks that we had to hit, but between those landmarks, there was complete fluidity and freedom of movement. But I wouldn't call it improvisation per se. I would call it just living truthfully in a scary ass situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually kind of ties into the thing that I'm going to ask you next, which is if your character had a voice or an internal monologue that we could hear, what do you think or imagine it would be saying during those scenes?
That's great. I think, I don't know. Whenever I watch it, I'm like, why would you, like? I mean, you knew. It's like with all horror, with all wherever there's trouble, with all conflict, like you kind of knew. Why the hell did you go? It's like, I think his Mitchell's inner monologue is just beating himself up for being just such a cretin to let himself get lured into this. I think, even though he did have the hunch, he knew it was dangerous. He said it. So maybe there could have been another way. Maybe there could have been that's one side of it. And the other side would be the just the survival inner monologue, just literally the cortisol kicking in and being, let's troubleshoot. Stop demonizing yourself, and let's relinquish the demon, the real demon. Let's find a way out of here. Let's get creative. Let's be smart. I guess that would be the inner monologue or inner conflict. Once.
Yeah, but I think, I think Mitchell, like, he knew that this was not, like, this place was dangerous. But I think he was really driven by trying to figure out what happened to Diane. Like, that was his girlfriend, you know? And, like, you just kind of felt, I don't know. I really loved your character because you're literally the only one that has literally called Andrew Tully a dick and at least lived for a little bit to tell about it, even though you at the time you didn't know that it was him.
Yeah.
But I think, like, when you're, because I don't know if that would have been my husband that would have went missing in a strange hotel, I probably would have went in there looking for him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the motivation is there. It's justified. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a movie. But you still can't help but think, what did I get accomplished by putting myself in such danger? You know what I'm saying? Like that's all. It's just like, don't go in there. Oh, you went in there.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Right. Yeah. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a whole look on Mitchell's face, like when Molly is on the radio or just comes into, like, why is she in here? And, like, you just see the look on your face, like, okay, this is it. This is it. This is something's about to go down. And sure enough, it did.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got a whiff of what forces we're contending with here,
Yeah.
Basically.
Right. What scene or scare are you most proud of from the Abaddon Hotel?
Most proud of?
Yeah.
The crazy thing that I want to share about this, one of the craziest things about shooting this movie was, and the difference between shooting this film versus any other film that I've done before, is that the crew was genuinely invisible for most of the part. for most parts. There was the crew, because it's found footage, is not there. So there were moments in the film where I could see, first of all, because it was so high stakes and because it was completely gaga with supernatural beings and supernatural shit going on, I'm not going to say what or how, I found myself in a setting where it was just me. I couldn't see no director, no lighting equipment, no cameras, no nothing. Just me and these entities. And in like morning fog, and I legit had a panic attack while doing that scene. I started hyperventilating, and I had a panic attack between action and cut. And you can kind of see it in, like, if you look out for it, you probably would be able to tell when that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's I wouldn't say that that's a moment I'm necessarily proud of. I would say that that's a moment that, first of all, was real as fuck, and it was just super intense, super intense, and because the character in that situation probably would be having a panic attack, and it doesn't happen very often that, you know, I get a panic attack while performing.
Right.
So
Right.
having to navigate that between me, the actor, being like, holy shit, in my head, like, holy shit, breathe, navigate through this, stay in it, and having to say, I'm sorry, cut. Can I have a moment, because I don't feel well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. It was intense. Let me put it that way. I'm not saying I'm proud of it. It was
No.
intense.
Well, we know what exactly, but
That's
it's
incredibly intense.
It's intense.
Yeah.
But it's a genuine reaction that you had, and I think what you're trying to say in it is the fact that that's just a testament to kind of the environment that can kind of produce, is bringing out such, even though that's horrifying, and I'm glad that you got through that, but that ended up triggering that much of a response. That means that, you know, what we're seeing on screen is really a testament to Mr. Cognetti and how much he builds up an environment, so much so that you organically feel it that way.
Yeah. It was one of the scariest things I've experienced in my life. Not just on screen, like in my life. It was genuinely debilitating almost.
Right.
Yeah.
But I shook it off.
Yeah, I definitely have to. Yeah, still.
Yeah,
I mean, it's great in the movie, but still, like, but it just, like what you were saying, Cass, it's just Stephen Cognetti just building that tense environment and just all the adrenaline, the emotions, and
because I feel like we're not saying that that's great that he, and you know, that you had such a genuine, but I feel like that is something that doesn't get brought up enough, is especially with people who are doing horror movies, the reality of like genuine reactions that you can get out of people, like, and the kind of fear that can get amped up. So, you know, there are a lot of actors and actresses that have very similar stories. I mean, we all kind of immediately go to Stanley Kubrick and The Shining and how he did things on set with that.
I just want to say, though,
Steve is not Stanley Kubrick. Yeah. He's
No. He's
Yeah,
not-
yeah.
I'm sure he'll take the comp. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying that in no way did Steve deliberately try to,
Right. Oh, yeah.
mess with my head.
No.
That's just something that came across through something that came out of the circumstances that he built, and like you said, the environment that he built. But in no way was he trying to inflict any kind of real or long-lasting psychological damage to his actors. No, he's a sweetheart, and he was very, very, very conscientious and very careful of our well-being, both physical and emotional, on set. So he was, he didn't. There was no electric pronging, or
No. I definitely would not think. I mean, I don't know Stephen Cognetti, but just from different things that we've seen, obviously, and for what we do, we've all just heard such glowing things about him. And
he's a very sweet man. He's very sweet man.
So I think genuinely it's just the way that he could tell a story. And I think that that's what kind of puts him up with a lot of the greats that do it. So to kind of wrap things up with this last question before we go into our next segment, what do you think makes the Hell House franchise stand out in the found footage horror genre?
Well, I think it's in the title. It's the locus itself. It's the overlap between. It's kind of like the fiction within fiction.
Yeah.
More than than any kind of found footage. Like it's the place itself comes with its own energy. You know what I mean? Like it's grounded in that. It's grounded in the Hell House franchise and its meta kind of spirit. You know what I mean? Like it's it's in the title. It's Abaddon. The bottomless pit, the angel of perdition.
I feel like a big part of it too is it just naturally has a conversation about what could bring out the best and worst in people because of having a theme of hell and demons and different, and the lengths we can go to be successful and to, in your case, try to find out what happened to the people we love. But it's just, I think it comes with such natural extremity because of the fact that, like, and a lot of it, you don't know that it is that deep of such a subplot until we get to like 3, where, we bring in Faust and it's kind of, we're bringing in even more subtle, just layering it on. But it is that kind of like, how far would you go for certain things and what would you be willing to do? And I feel like it does just kind of naturally lend itself in such different ways, which is another reason why I think jumping now to narrative for Lineage, that makes more sense too, because connecting it all together, there's only so much limits that comes to doing found footage. And if you're connecting 4 movies of footage together, you're eventually going to need something that is a little bit more narrative to kind of, plug in all the connectors into the board. So I think that that's a great way of explaining it. So
it's also, I also think that the whole franchise, that what it does really cleverly is that it hinges on 2 very different mediums. There's the medium of the documentary, that's
Mhm.
supposed
Yeah.
to be like, this is the actual truth. You have to believe this because it happened. And it starts off with the kind of like this carnivalesque kind of haunted house that is contractually letting you know that this is here to spook you out and this is fake.
Yeah.
And this, you know what I mean? Like that's a really interesting way to interlace in a story, because one is like, believe this is true. The other one is, I'm gonna scare you. This is not true, but I'm still
Yeah.
gonna scare you. So that's, I think, what Steve managed to do is just interlace those really nicely together, and that's what makes it stand out from any other, found footage thing.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, and listen, we're Steve fans, but like that makes 100%. Like
Yeah.
that completely entails like who he is, just as, because all of his films are just fantastic. Whether 825 Forest Road is more narrative, but it still kind of had that same environment to it, and it still had that same kind of like
Yeah.
thumbprint of his on it. So I think that's just like a testament to who he is as a person and how he can weave those stories together. So we're super excited for Lineage, as you can tell. Thank you so much, Vas, for coming on Horrorcraft here. We really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and really quickly swerve into our ending segment, which is our favorite thing in horror this week. If you have something that was your favorite thing in horror this week, Vas, or your favorite thing this past month, you are more than welcome to join us. But it's just briefly something that just kind of tickled our fancy this week. So, Kylee, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
I am super excited. In a week, I get to go on a date with the husband to go see Lineage. Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
very excited. We haven't been on a date in a very long time, so.
Yes, and Kylie's committed. She's driving almost 2 hours to go see Hell House in a theater, specifically to have the experience. So
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I told my husband, like, if we can't find a sitter, which we really can't like find sitters, I'm like, I don't care, I'm going. So I don't know what to tell you. But luckily we did, so we both get to go, and it'll be fun.
That's great.
But another thing, I went to my son's open house tonight for school, and they had a food truck there. At first I'm like, that's kind of bougie, but like kind of cool. My kids go to like a rural like county school, but I got this really good drink. It's like a dirty Alani. It's not alcoholic, but it's like almost like a Halloween. It's got the Alani Witch's Brew flavor, and it's like all caramel apple and yummy. And I've been sitting here sipping it, and it just, I'm ready for spooky season. That's what drinking it reminds me of. I'm ready for spooky season.
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead.
Can I shamelessly plug other stuff?
No, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Whatever you want.
Yes.
I have there's another psychological thriller dipping into horror that I've done, called Snakeeater, directed by Tor Knoos, and you can find it on Amazon Prime. Check it out. It's with Isaac de Bancolé, and I think it's a treat. It was actually got a shout out in the New York Times top 5 horrors of the month last month or something. So yeah, I recommend watching that. It's really, really fun if you're into horror. And one that's in the works right now, it's called The Block by Craig Singer, and it's in post-production now, but it's going to come out soon, and that's also a pretty juicy horror that nice and gory and violent. So there's stuff coming out, and there's stuff already there. Snakeeater's already out. Go check it out.
Yeah, we'll definitely put it in a link down below. I will definitely be checking it out. in my spare time. Kylie, I'll let you know because I know currently you're battling the snake in your creek like a Terminator. So I'll let you know if there's
I
anything to
actually
watch out.
kind of am. I actually
Yeah.
kind of am.
Spoiler: it doesn't have snakes in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
Okay.
that better.
It's not a heavy-handed film.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
snakes on the plane.
Well, we just have a running joke. We did Anaconda last summer, and ever since we did
Yes.
Anaconda, Kylie lives in a very rural area where there's like she's on a highway that has mountains, and there's like a very big prison on the other side, and you go actually down into like her area, and she calls it a holler, but she has a creek in the back, and
I do.
there's just been snakes popping up ever since. I was actually there.
Yeah.
What is snakes?
They're not venomous.
Well, there's like water snakes and there's copperheads. Copperheads are venomous, but like I've always had a huge fear of snakes, like not tolerating, and I'm trying to be like more coexisting with them. And I've been learning a lot about them this summer and just identifying them. And to be honest, it has helped my fear a lot with snakes. But there's just been one kind of like yes, that's its environment, but it's been like kind of become my pet. I have not touched it. Will I touch it? Absolutely not. But I just go and look at it, and because my kids play outside, and I like to know,
Of course,
like, if it's a water snake, like that's fine, but like if there's a copperhead, like I kind of need to know if that's out there, and like you guys need to stay away, and so. But like, yeah, learning about them's kind of it's helped with my fear a lot. Maybe one day I'll pick up a nice one. We'll see.
I'm sure you'll overcome it.
Yeah, I like snakes, but like I was there at her house in June before we go to a special needs family retreat together, and I was there the weekend before, and I was the day after, and we actually celebrated Father's Day together, and our original plan was we were going to grill the steaks for the guys.
You were going to grill a steak.
I was going to grill the steak, and
which also included grilling me a steak.
Yes, but I left it to my fiance because there was a huge snake out there, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not combating that. I do not need to be like Linda Hamilton, a snake right now. Like, I do not." So, I'm like, I will skip that adventure. So, just not doing it. So, yeah. So my favorite thing in horror this week, well, first of all, I had a very surreal moment yesterday. Not yesterday, but Sunday. The Talking Tapes Summer Screams that came out earlier this year, which I was a part of, Kylie and I both. But I was obviously a part of the Talking Tapes collective, and the first ever clip that I did for the Halloween special last year, our friend Josh turned it into an actual VHS tape, and Tiki, who runs the collective and has done our intro, has the VHS tape, and I went over to his house Sunday to have a like summer ween get together to kind of like get some good fall vibes going, and kind of had a little bit of a healing inner Cass moment, little Cass, and just the fact that like we were watching the special on a VHS that was specially made on a very vintage TV, and Braden looked over like right around that time he had just come out, and Tiki's like, "Look at your mom," and I was just like, "Oh man, that's what thing, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, man."
I love that.
It's for
That's
that.
great. Hashtag no filter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it was great. There is a VHS tape being made for Summer Screams that Tiki let me know about. So I will definitely be going and watching that. That has the clip that Kylie and I might even post it. I will say though, very quickly, one of my grievances is I am not a big haunted house person, but I will say I am deeply disappointed by the news of Cedar Point changing their practice after so many years. And for years, they have, if you bought a ticket to Cedar Point, you could stay for Halloween weekends and you could go and do the haunted houses. And I feel like a lot of kids in my area, that's how they got introduced to horror. Well, now that Six Flags took over and different things got in, and I understand everyone has to make money, but now it is an enhancement just to get in to do that. So not only do you have to buy almost a $60 ticket to get into Cedar Point and do the things to do, which are limited in the fall time, you have to now purchase a $30 ticket on top of it just to go into those experiences. And it does not include the Conjuring House, which is another enhancement. So unfortunately, I will not be partaking in that this year. That is just something that I cannot co-sign. So I say all that to say, please get out and support your local haunts, your local people who are out there killing it and doing everything. I live in an area where people are throwing up haunted houses all the time. There's a ton of cornfields, and I live by the lake, and there's tons of things that get done on the lake. Go support your local fun, spooky things, and let's kind of de-influence
so cool. We don't
a
have
little
that
bit.
in the city.
Yeah,
We live. Where's my cornfield?
I live in a rural part away from my hometown, but I only live 30 minutes away from where I grew up at, and that's literally right on Lake Erie. And so there are a lot of cool things. So I say that to say, go support your local spooky things. And that's how we ensure that things keep going. And let's de-influence corporate greed just a little bit, because it's getting out of hand, and spooky season isn't something that should primarily be something to be monetized. It's for a lot of us that grew up that was our lifeline, and we want to keep that going for our kids. So let's de-influence that. So that's just my little soapbox for the day. But Cedar Point, I still love you, still love the effect you had, but that was a little odd pocket. So I'm definitely going to highlight something if I feel like it's not the right thing. So, but thank you so much, Vas, for coming on. We really,
this is really fun. You guys are really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So if, as Vas said, he listed some of the movies that he was in or we're currently working on being in, we will list them down below. Please go watch him in Hell House 2. We will again link in the description where you can find him, all of his social media, and you can also go onto our page where the promotion for this episode will be, and you can find him that way as well. So until next time, it's me, Cass, and
Kylee.
And we're the Horrorcraft podcast, and we're saying bye and stay spooky. Bye.